and Ramble is hot. Okay. I don't know what to say. What else on this chest? I got a lot on my chest I need to get off my chest. I'm excited, man. I'm excited. It's Sunday. I do this every Sunday. This is my favorite day. We evaluate what has happened. We get ready for the next week. And hey, we talk about improving your mental to improve your portfolio, improve your point of view, your frame of mind. We're gonna talk all that. We also gonna jazz out. We're gonna listen to music. All kinds of fun vibes coming your way today. If you haven't visited us before, welcome to Sin City Crypto. My name is Big Rob. This is a Sunday production live from my house. We do have a studio here in Las Vegas. We go live Monday through Friday. Got co-hosts, producers, other people. This is a little different segment. We talk about personal growth. We talk about ourselves. We talk about like motivation. We talk about effectiveness, growing the portfolio, money management. This is a little outside of, hey, we're talking about this crypto or that crypto. This is more of a fundamental thinking from the inside out. And today's subject, we are going to be talking about banks, financial system. What is going on? What does that mean for crypto? How should you position yourself if all this contagion spreads, if the house of cards start to fall? Eventually that will happen. Eventually that will happen. And if you are new here, say hello so we can drop an hola back at you. All right, we got Bullish Kenny G been up in here having a party before we even got this thing started. We also got Servando up in here. We got Crypto Logs, Crypto Hands. We got PG, Redman, Brokioshi, Ivan, Lazarus. We have Antonio Cruzar, Crypto Billionaire, Lazarus Hand again. Mr. Young Fargo up in here, Talladega Fitness, and my hero, Sun God, Chris Crypto, Bullish E-Money, Devin C as well, Gary, also Frosted Flake. Don't forget about Cozy Bay up in here as well. Beachhead, K, Turret, K, and then we got Kevin B and John Sothart as well. So to all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. Also, Enzo Mining just popped up. What's up, my dude? All right, so I'm excited today, man. First of all, let's state the obvious. Bitcoin is over 28,000! Yeah, that's right. Dude, so much economic calamity. I'm telling you, there's one safe haven asset out here that cannot be inflated, can't be manipulated by politics, can't be printed in excess. That is Bitcoin. Doesn't matter what's going on globally. Doesn't matter if a virus pops up. Doesn't matter if somebody's trying to get reelected. Doesn't matter. Bitcoin is on on chains. It is the bedrock. It is the safety net of our finance. And then, yeah, man, it's that's what we're at, bro. This thing is thing's great, man. Bitcoin's amazing, dude. I you know what, we talk about altcoins so much. We discuss altcoins ad nauseum, and we forget to praise Daddy, you know? Forget to praise Daddy, right? Sometimes you talk about hanging out with your friends, and then you talk about going to school, you talk about your wife, you talk about, you know, your teacher, you talk about this. But sometimes you forget, you know, the man of the household, the one that pays the bills, the one that holds everything together, essentially, right? You know, the man of the house, Bitcoin. Sometimes we forget about that, man. Sometimes we like to think about our gains outside of that, and you know, Bitcoin might not be perfect. Might use more energy than deemed necessary. It depends on who you ask, but you can say that nothing in this world is perfect, not even Bitcoin. But man, when you compare the financial system that we have now, and then you compare that the financial system we have now, and you compare Bitcoin, what an amazing like difference that is, right? And the thing is, they've been working. They have been working on the financial system for hundreds of years. Bitcoin's been out for 10. Imagine what Bitcoin's gonna look like in 20 years. Give Bitcoin another 7 years. What that market adoption will look like. It'll look like in contrast to the financial markets. The financial markets are leveraging more debt, more volatility, more uncertainty, and it ain't gonna change. It's not gonna change, man. It is not gonna change. And there is a thought out here, man, that this is gonna get ugly, right? I'm concerned. Put it this way. I'm concerned with everything that's going on with the banks, the printing, the Fed raising the interest rate, the inflation coming in out of control. We have international banks with uncertainty. You have a lot of uncertain times ahead, and there's a ton of red signals. There's a ton of sirens going off as some things are about to break. Some things are about to break. Here's the thing. If you're plugged into the financial system, right? You're plugged into the banks, right? You got bank, you got savings account, 401k, you got whatever it is. No matter where you're at, you're plugged into the financial system. Think about it. Now, I'm not talking about crypto, people. I'm talking about traditional finance. You cannot escape it. There's no safe haven. Everything essentially collapses. And the thing is that the markets are due for a major correction, and they keep prolonging it, and it's gonna collapse at some point. It's gonna collapse at some point. And if it collapses, there's no safe haven for them. But here's the beauty of it. Here in this space, here in crypto, we have an area, we have a bomb shelter, right? The bomb shelter is Bitcoin. The bomb shelter is Bitcoin, and you can watch everything else blow up. And here's the beauty of it. Maybe it doesn't blow up, right? Maybe we just get a slight recession. Maybe we don't even go into recession. Perhaps we come out of this 2023 with nothing besides fear, right? And nothing happened. The analysts were wrong, and everyone was freaking out, and the Fed bailed us out. I could see that happening. I think that's a very realistic possibility. I would say it's probably about a 60% chance. At the same time, there's about a 40% chance that this whole damn thing comes crashing down. Okay, you know what? I say 60% chance the whole thing comes or 60% chance nothing happens. 25% chance we just go into a mild recession. 15% chance this whole thing comes crashing down. And are you going to hedge your bet? Because in scenario one, nothing happens. You go into the bomb shelter, and you come out 6 months, a year later, everything's fine. But you had the bomb shelter, and all your friends are laughing at you, and you're like, okay, cool. Or you're building Noah's Ark, and you're like, everyone's watching you, and you're like, hey, what are y'all doing? I'm like, hey, man, I'm getting ready for the storm. Getting ready for the flood. There's going to be a global reset. And so I'm preparing myself. Now, hey, could be 6 months, a year and a half from now, nothing happens. And you know what? What'd you do? You piled into Bitcoin. And you probably made some money off of it in the short term, right? And long term. So you buy Bitcoin now, 28. Who knows? Maybe it pulls back down to 20,000 before the next bull run. Who cares, right? But you end up piling into Bitcoin. You start DCAing. You start moving funds away from traditional assets, out of the savings account, out of that. You start unplugging and transferring from one old ridiculously outdated system, and you start moving over to another, right? Which is crypto. And 60% chance everything's fine. And hey, you probably make a few bucks in the process because of the entry point for crypto right now, and in the coming months will be significantly lower than it will be in the future, right? And then there's the recession part. There's a 25% chance that you go into a recession. And if that happens, well, you've protected yourself from probably what's going to be a market collapse, or a mild market reset, a mild market downturn. And hey, you know what? You weather the storm. You probably make more money, or you probably lose less money being into Bitcoin because I don't think the bottom is far off from where we're at. So basically, you just kind of protect yourself. You probably do better than most people being in crypto. And then there's the scenario 3 where, hey, you got the Noah's Ark built, you got the bomb shelter, you're hunkering down, and everything goes to poop, right? Everything goes under, banks start going under. There is major economic collapse on every country's borders, on all financial institutions, stock market, the private sector, governments, inflation. I'm just talking about the perfect storm. That is a realistic possibility. That is something that is on the table, and it's something that was literally knocking on the door last week. 3 banks went under. Fed had to come in, bail out, $300 billion printed. If they didn't do that at that time, we would have seen the beginning of exactly what we're saying. And we were this close just a week ago. And so if you think this can't happen, you're delusional. You've taken whatever pill the government is sending out your way. Hey, trust in the government. The government doesn't move at the speed of light. Remember that. And so if things start collapsing in an extremely quick manner, and things go under in a very, very short period of time, the federal government may not act quick enough to save it. Or they might just not want to. Because remember, not everything is under a bank. You can have hedge funds. You can also have what's called shadow banks. These can go under. These institutions can go under. These giant VC funds. There's a lot of wealth tied into those. Those can go under. They have no protection from the federal government. Now they've been propped up through quantitative easing. But that doesn't happen at the snap of a finger. It can through the process after setting it up, but I'm just saying that if you hedge your bet, you protect against the eventual collapse of the financial system, because it's coming. Now, I'm not saying it's going to collapse and burn to the ground and never come back, but a major market correction is due. We prolonged it in 2008. We prolonged it again in 2020, and we're prolonging it right now. But it will come. And the longer you prolong it, the bigger the fall. Right? It's due. It's coming. It doesn't matter. You have to pay your bill. You cannot keep borrowing and not pay your bill. Now, you can let the interest stack up, and you can keep refinancing, and you can keep filing for bankruptcy, whatever it is. At some point, it's going to catch up to you. Anyways, let me get back in the chat. Let me say hello to some of my peoples up in here. And if you are new, say hello so that way we can get an Ola here for you. All right, and then let's see who we got up in here. All right, we got Destroyer up in here, Matu. We got BG, JP Trees. We got Skank, Tina Tacos. And then we got, who else up in here? Cozy Bay, Alexander, FOMO Sapien, Timmy, Young Fargo, Fino. And then we got Barbaric, Bo Rabbit, Strong Like Wood. And to all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. Also, we got Vegas Freeballer in here, Dibsy as well. If you're new here, say hello. All right, we got 107 people up in here. I'm feeling the vibe. Let's see if we can get 100 Olas in the chat. I'm gonna start this thing off. Let's get this thing vibing. I want to know if you guys are vibing with me. Drop that Ola. Drop that Ola. Let's go. And let's drop that like button as well. We got 59 likes in here. Drop the Ola if you hit the like button. Should be at least 59 Olas, right? All right, and then today's agenda. Okay, we're gonna discuss maybe the potential for collapse on the financial markets globally. We're also going to discuss we have being a student versus an expert and what that mindset kind of looks like. Also, we're going to talk about laying out your goals, and if you don't even have goals, maybe how to identify some of them. And then also what else we got on the agenda today? Getting things done, also perhaps some habits, rituals, and routines. And then we're going to talk about debts versus saving on your own personal level as well. Maybe just some food for thought on some strategies there. All right. So before we get too far into it, I do want to pull up the old Bitcoin crypto numbers here. We got Bitcoin coming in at $27,981. This was over 28,000 earlier. So we are above 28,000. We've been playing around with it. It looks like we're gonna cross. Remember, there has historically not been any support and resistance at between 25 and 30,000, and for that reason, your boy thinks that we're gonna go straight to 30K. I'm telling you, what is going on? The economic uncertainty, people trying to hunker down, and Bitcoin is providing that service, right? If you're questioning your money, where do you put it? If you're questioning your government's capabilities of managing their own economics, where are you putting your money? Because if the world reserve currency is the dollar, and everyone uses the dollar, putting your money in a different currency across the pond doesn't exactly help your situation, right? Because if there's economic downturn in the US, then there's economic downturn around the world, right? It's the same when you think about like Bitcoin, right? If Bitcoin is down, then the whole crypto market's down, right? Why? Because Bitcoin's the backbone. Bitcoin's essentially the reserve currency of crypto markets, right? I mean, everybody has some exposure to Bitcoin. Even if you don't own any personally in your portfolio, you know what happens to the price of Bitcoin goes down. So do all other assets. And so this is very similar, and it draws a pretty good parallel to finance in the global sense, where you have the world reserve currency. If it takes a dump, so will the rest of the global market. We saw in 2008, global recession happened there as well. And so everything that's going on, I'm just a little concerned, man. I'm a little concerned, and you guys should be as well. Also, let's take a look. We got Bitcoin over 18,000. Remember, the biggest mover today, essentially, compared to the other ones, is Bitcoin up 2.5%. Everything else is kind of hanging out in the shadows. There are a few outliers. Avalanche up 3%. But most of everything is kind of watching Bitcoin to see where it goes. And then some of the bigger ones, Magic is up as well. 7%, 1 inch is up 5%, XRP up 4%. So, also some of the biggest losers as well. You got Ton Coin down 1.4, and then these two. I don't even know what these are here. What are these? Anyways, is this a stable coin? Anyways, now going back to the global uncertainty. How do we get in this position? One was printing. Two was the effects of printing, which was the inflation. Obviously, with inflation, the supply chain and other outside forces played on this as well. It wasn't all printing, but definitely that was the fuel, that was the fire, right? You know, you can say that, hey, the trees in the forest burned because that was the fuel, and you can say the supply chain of the trees. But hey, if there's somebody out there in the forest just pouring gasoline everywhere and lights the match, that essentially is the root cause to the fire. And the root cause to the fire here financially was the gasoline, which is the money printing, the absolute insane amount of capital injected into the financial markets. Not only through quantitative easing, but also through printing, stimulus checks. The list goes on. And to think that we wouldn't have inflation is actually pretty foolish. And then on top of that, we're starting to see the effects now. And here we go. We got Argentina's inflation rate is now over a full 100%. 100%. Think about that. Let that sink in. Let's think about that. This is not a tiny country. This is the country of Argentina, a massive population, up a 100%. That means you have lost half of your purchasing power. That means if you had $100 in a bank account, it's now worth 50. On top of that, the inflation was already bad before. And this is also their version of the CPI. This is them saying they're at 100%. Probably even worse than that. It's probably worse than that. And you gotta ask yourself, like, how do you protect from this, man? You gotta get out of the currency. You have to abandon ship. Are you gonna abandon ship and then swim over to the US? I don't think that's, I mean, it's better than Argentina, sure, but it's trending the same direction. And on top of that, if you're an Argentinian citizen, do you even have the means to invest in US based stocks, treasuries? Can you even go somewhere to buy the notes? Are you allowed to? Does the government let you go down to the bank and buy dollars and sell your Argentinian peso? Can you? I don't even think you can. I'm not exactly sure on the rules, but this is what is happening globally. So Argentina's annual inflation surpassed 100% in February, and they're not even number one in the world. There are two other countries that have worse inflation than Argentina. Can you believe that? So in February, marking a 30-year high since the nation's hyperinflation in 1991. Meanwhile, Bitcoin has appreciated against the Argentinian peso by 20% over the past year, despite posting a 34% drop against the US dollar over the same period. Now, the region also has a relatively high crypto adoption rate, ranking 13th in Chainalysis's crypto adoption index, despite the nation's central bank clamping down on crypto-related services. So the government is actively trying to stop on crypto adoption for the simple fact that they don't want their citizens leaving their monetary system, which I don't know why you would want to stay. But I understand why the government wants you to stay, because if everybody leaves, their money's essentially worthless, right? If everyone unplugs from the network and no one's using the network, then the network is irrelevant, it's pointless, it's not worth anything. I mean, so think about it there. So when you think like what's going on here in the US, The US doesn't want you to go to crypto. At least not until they set it up themselves and you use their crypto network. The US doesn't want you to use crypto. Why? For the same reason you see here in Argentina, just it's not as dire of a situation. People aren't leaving in drones and trying to move all their wealth. And here in the US, you have people speculating, you have people trying to make money, you have people like trying to put a portion of their earnings or their investment portfolio into crypto. In Argentina, you're just trying to live, right? You're trying to take that money that you set aside for a car in a year or two. I mean, imagine if you were trying to save up for a car. Say you had $10,000 set aside for a car, and then a year later, the car prices doubled because of inflation. Like, that's real. That's happening to millions of people. And then Nigeria and Turkey lead Argentina in the same index. So it's even worse in Turkey and Nigeria. Countries that have also failed troublesome inflation that only serves to boost crypto adoption. Due to its fixed supply, Bitcoin bulls often regard the asset as a long-term inflation hedge. It is exactly that. It is exactly that. And this is happening here. We were at 9.1% inflation not even a year ago. We're still over 6%. And this is compounding. If you were to take a 30-year mortgage at 3%, you end up paying twice the amount of the loan after 30 years, right? 3%. So at a 3% rate, let's just say that, at a 3% rate, you lose half your purchasing power every 30 years, right? So if CPI is 3%, and usually the CPI is undercutting what it actually is, you usually lose about half your purchasing power every 30 years. So if you're in cash, every 15 years, you're losing about a quarter of your purchasing power. So anything you're trying to set up on a long-term 15-year account, you can expect, even on the most best case scenario, you lose 25% of that, right? So you start saving for your kids' school, you better add an extra 25%. Because first of all, it's probably going to take you 15 years to save that, right? 40 grand, 60 grand. Remember, college used to cost 10,000. When I was coming out of high school, it was 10, 20,000 for a nice college. You had 20 grand, you could, go to university, get a bachelor's degree. Now 20 grand is 1 year. $20,000 is 1 year in college at a major university. That's where we're at. It's crazy, right? And this inflation thing, it's robbing us, right? Concerning, dude. It's super concerning. So, anyways, let's get some music going on over here. I want to get the vibes back up in here. We had a lot of Olas in here earlier. We got my boy David up in here as well. We got Kevin Kleiwan. Who else we got in here? Gianluca Z, BG, Skids Up, Shane Yeri, Crypto Santa. We got Mo up in here. To all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. So, if you think that what's happening with banks is here in the US, sadly mistaken. There is a battle going on globally. And so, one, you have Credit Suisse, major bank in Switzerland. Here you have Justin Sun's come out and officially proposed to buy Credit Suisse for $1.5 billion. And this amazing photo here. The savior. I don't think he's the savior. Anyways, it's just interesting. This dude tries to buy up all distressed companies at a massive discount. No surprise there, right? And then we got Cheerios up in here saying 35K today. A little ambitious, but I like your style. Where's Bitcoin at? Bitcoin, 28,000. $28,000 Bitcoin. That's what's up. All right. And then, so you got international banks failing. You also have the Fed poised to approve another quarter-point rate hike this week, despite market turmoil. So this is just basically going off of what the markets are pricing in. Generally speaking, the markets have been accurate. Now the markets can move, sway, and change their own opinion last minute. They have in the past. We've seen them flip-flopping over the expected interest rate hike coming from the Fed. But another quarter. Here's my thing, man. First of all, make sure you watch our episode on Wednesday when they come out with the Fed rate hike. We need to know, because if they raise this thing, we're playing with dynamite, man. You know, we're getting a little closer. We're getting a little bit more gunpowder in this system, because this economy essentially runs off of debt and borrowing to cover that debt. That's how our government works. We keep borrowing to service our debt, and then we pay interest, and then we don't have enough money. We borrow more. This is what happens not only on the U.S. government's balance sheet, but this is also what's happening in corporate America. And as you raise interest rates, you got to remember that also plays into the fact that companies cannot borrow. They cannot expand. They cannot do anything. And when facing economic uncertainty and trying to forecast for the future, they're going to shut down certain sectors, right? You had some new product you're going to launch, you're probably going to wait. If you had a new branch you're going to open, you're probably going to wait. If you are relying on a loan to build out that infrastructure or that branch or whatever it is, you probably had your funding dry up. What happens? You lay off. What happens to banks? They stop lending. They stop borrowing. Financial system comes to a grinding halt at some point. Fed is trying to slow down the economy, and they are putting the stick in the spokes. They're not slowing down and doing this slowly. My opinion is the rate hikes necessary? Sure. Better than where we were at zero, and company just kept borrowing massive amounts of money. But at least here in this situation, large companies can stop borrowing money they don't need, right? But here's the problem. The whole thing's going to come crashing down, or there's a potential for it. But more than likely what's going to happen is that the Fed is going to have to step in. They're going to have to print money. They're already doing it. So they're going to keep raising interest rates, and they're going to just inject tons of capital into the system. They're going to print tons of money. And then you're going to see this spill over into the stock market and into speculative markets and the crypto markets. That's where the money's going to funnel into. And nothing is going to change. And all they're doing is making this worse. And at some point, this thing is going to collapse. I'm telling you, at some point, this thing is going to collapse. Yeah. And that Credit Suisse. So not only is it Justin Sun, also you have the Swiss. No, it was, first of all, you had UBS saying that they were going to bail out Credit Suisse for $1 billion. They were going to value the company, I think it was at 25 cents a share, which Credit Suisse was like, that's not enough. Anyways, doesn't really matter what they think their valuation should be. Now, the Swiss government's talking about subsidizing and just buying it out. And then running it as a national bank. I don't even. Here's the thing, man. You can't. A government can't just let everything run and not have any failures. You're gonna have, if a company takes risk, if a bank takes risk, and it doesn't play out, then you have to buy how markets work. Just let it play out. Let it fail. And you know what? People are gonna lose money. There should be risk when you invest. It's just the nature of it. You go into a casino and you decide and you bring in $1,000 to the casino, you should know that you're taking risk and you might lose all your money. You should have that. Now, if you go into the casino and there's literally no chance you can lose money, like let's just say every time you lose that $1,000, let's just say your best friend, your rich friend comes in and gives you another $1,000, you're going to act reckless, right? You're going to take on more risk. Instead of playing the $2, $3 hands of blackjack, you're over there playing $10 hands because you're like, hey, if I lose it all, I got somebody who's going to bail me out. And so that mentality is broken. That's our system. So that's our banks. So our banks are out here just going loose. They're like, hey, man, you know what? We're going to take on risk. If this doesn't play out, we'll get bailed out. That's where we're at. And they don't care if they fail because they know they have a safety net, which is the government. But I'm telling you, David will argue with me, but at some point there's gonna be a big bank that goes under. It is impossible to leverage debt without any regard for risk. Zero regard for risk. Leverage as much debt as you possibly can, borrow, not keep any money on hand, lock it up somewhere else, and somebody's going to draw on that. And at some point, the government is going to get fed up with it, and they're going to say, you know what, we're going to stop. Or they just can't print fast enough, or people are literally going to stand up and burn down the cities. Because if you get the 100% inflation that we had in Argentina and the States, what do you think is going to happen? No, let's not say it's 100%. Let's say it's 40%. Let's say it's 70%. We were at 10% earlier this year, so this isn't some crazy like cuckoo. Like this is real. Like this can actually happen if major banks start going under and the Fed just starts jamming as much money as they can at it. What do you think is going to happen in inflation? We're already at 6%, and this is with almost 5% interest rate as the wholesale rate for all banks to use. What do you think is going to happen? You know what? This is going to lead me. I'm gonna go into debt versus credit for our own personal accounts here in a second. But first, let me get some of that 80s music going on. Jessica's favorite. Where's Jessica at? And you guys, I love my 80s music here. I'm an 80s baby. I was born in 1983. A lot of things that happened in 83. Don't ask me what happened, but I remember seeing that date, that year, multiple times in the history books. Just saying. Now, if you're new here, say hello so we can drop an hola back at you. We got Crypto Need Red Bull up in here as well. And then we got TFP Screwdriver 3 up in here. Now, I want to ask the chat something. Am I overreacting? Do you think that we can get an absolute economic collapse across the globe? Or am I just some crazy conspiracy theory, guys? Let me know. Put a 1 in the chat if you think there's a realistic possibility, and I'd say realistically somewhere above 7%. If there's a realistic possibility that the banks fail, that we go through economic collapse, we go through a depression, a global recession, whatever you want to call it, a great reset, put a 1 in the chat if you think that's going to happen within the next 2 years. Put a 2 in the chat if you think the Fed is going to simply print. We'll just pump a bunch of money into the system. We'll have a crazy amount of inflation, but we'll just live through it. 1, economic collapse. 2, print, and be okay. I'm gonna pin that to the top. Curious. So Thomas, Shanking back, New Crypto, Pong, Jason, and my hero, Crypto, Chris Crypto, all say 1. We got Jason Mac, Ivan, Crypto Surge, all say 2. Kyle also says 1. Servando says 1. BG 1. Cheerios is on the 2. So it seems like a little bit more people uncertain. You know, kind of leads me back to this idea I have where we agree that like over half the room thinks it's possible, if not likely. The other half of the room says, we'll probably just print. But the thing is like, you do realize there's a chance, right? And there's a chance you should hedge the economic calamity, right? You should protect your assets, even if it doesn't play out. Even if you put in the 2 and you're right, even if you think that they're just going to print their way out of this and we'll be okay, even if that's your mentality, you should at least prepare for the possibility that it doesn't happen. Because, hey, I'm sure you've been wrong at some point in time in your life. All right, so let's talk about credit versus debt, right? Or let's talk about debt versus savings, okay? And you know, I've come to the realization that a lot of so there's two major ways of looking at kind of your non-dispensable income, right? Well, one, a lot of people invest, but then you have your savings, right? You have your savings. So you have your credit line generally. I think most of us probably have credit line, and if you don't, well, you know, I'm sure at some point you'll be offered credit. You have your credit line, and so let's say you have $10,000 worth of debt or $20,000 worth of debt. Now, let's say you have $20,000 worth of debt, right? This could be in the form of student loans, credit cards. I'm not even talking about your car and house, right? I'm talking about income outside of travel and home. Probably, I would say most Americans, a lot of people out here could have $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 worth of debt. The interesting thing is, though, debt and savings a lot of times go hand in hand, right? They both grow incrementally, right? Usually, the more money you make, the more debt you take on, and the more money you make, the more savings you usually have, right? And I would say that generally speaking, outside of your home loan and your auto loan, your interest generally is above 20%. Credit cards are for sure. Your student loans generally are over 20% as well. And let's think about it. If you have... And what is, okay, well, before I get into this, what is a good amount of savings, right? Well, here in the U.S., you could argue that $5,000 might be a good amount of money to have set aside, right? You can also say that, $2,000 is probably more realistic in this day and age with the median salary being where it is. And I know this is a very subjective depending on where you're at, what country you're in. We'll just keep it here, our thought experiment for the US. You can multiply this by 2. If you make more money, you can divide it by 4 if you make less money, but it's still the same premise, right? So let's just say you're like, you know what? $3,000 is, let's say $3,000 is a good amount of money to have in a savings account in case something bad happens. And at the same time, you got $10,000 to $20,000 worth of, say you have $10,000 worth of debt, right? And you say you have a few credit cards, $2,000 here, $5,000 there, $1,000 here, $800 there, ends up totaling up to $10,000. At 20% interest, or say the credit card is at about 24% interest. 24% interest. If you keep that credit, you keep that debt in the credit card system for a year. At the end of the year, you're paying $2,400. $2,400 is getting paid to straight interest annually if you have $10,000 worth of debt. Same time, if you have $10,000 worth of debt, you have $3,000 in savings. Now, the amount of money you could have saved not having that debt would have been exactly what you had in the savings account. Well, I come to this kind of thought process here. Now, if you instead tried to tackle debt before you try to tackle savings, you could always say, now here's the thing, like everyone always says, well, you need money for a rainy day if something happens. That's why you got credit, right? My car breaks down, I got a credit card. Go fix my car. My water heater breaks down, I got a credit card. But if I have $0 that I owe on the credit card, I haven't incurred any debt. And at the same time, if I have credit, I can draw on that credit in time of crisis. In time of crisis, I can fix my car, I can fix my water heater, but I don't have the debt and I'm not paying for that credit. I'm not paying a credit card company to have that line of credit. It's just there, it's ready for when I need it. And then they're going to tax me if I decide to use it. And so when you think about it, if you keep debt and credit, but at the same time you're saving, you're going backwards. Because you would save more if you just paid off your debt and then worried about saving later. If you have $20,000 worth of available credit, $10,000 of it is tied up in debt, and you have $5,000 in your savings, take your savings out, pay your credit cards down. At the end of the year, you will have more money to put in the savings. Very simple thought process here. Very simple. Now, if you don't have the money to put in the savings, you're in a different situation. At that point, you either need to increase how much money you bring in, how much money you make, or you decrease your expenditures, you spend less money. Then like that, you can, one, work on your debt. And if that's completely worked on and you have little to no debt, then you can start putting aside for your savings. Should have savings. I agree. I'm the first person to say I have actually no savings because I run up debt. But what happens as soon as I run up debt, I pay it off. Now, I don't make enough money because of my business ventures. I usually pour in a lot of my dispensable income back into Sin City Crypto's business. So what I would generally save at if I didn't have this business venture, I pour it into Sin City Crypto. And so I personally don't have any savings. But at the same time, paying down my debt is my priority because then I have more dispensable income. Because these interest rates are tough. It'll beat you down. You can only file bankruptcy at once. And even then, do you want to be that person to file bankruptcy? You want to go a year or 2 years without being able to buy anything with credit? Need to buy a new car? Nope. Need to buy a house? Nope. Same. So I would prioritize debt if we're trying to maximize our wealth, or trying to have more dispensable income to pour into. You want more dispensable income to invest into crypto. You need to pay down your debts first. And don't look at crypto as a lotto ticket. Like, well, hey, I got $20,000 worth of debt. So if I put $1,000 into this altcoin, then I'll cash out at 5,000, and then I'll pay off my you stop it. Pay your debt down, and then start worrying about it. Or at least DCA into crypto and DCA into debt. Dollar cost average down your debt. I don't talk about making your minimum payments. Minimum payments is that's you waving the white flag, right? That is the minimum amount that the credit card company is legally allowed to let you pay, because the federal government says if you pay any less, you're gonna end up accruing more interest, then you'll never pay it down. And so the federal government is coming and said, okay, look, you got to at least put the minimum threshold here. So that way, after 5 years, you can pay off your credit card. But you don't want to live on that. And this is also a mentality of paying down debt. It's okay to make more than one payment. It's a revolutionary theory for somebody. Like, well, I paid my American Express credit card today. I mean, last month. Okay, who cares? The system will not break if you send another payment. Pay it twice. Pay it 3 times. You all of a sudden you made some more money. You know, you're saving money or whatever it is. You got some extra cash or whatever. Hey man, you paid $300 last week. Oh, cool. Pay another $200. Now, boom, you knocked off $500. You gotta look at debt like a rock tied to your foot and you're out in the ocean. The more you chip away at it, the less it's gonna pull you down. And you can only swim so hard, man. You can only swim so hard. I'm telling you, it will pull you down. And you want to have economic success. You want to grow your crypto portfolio. You got to grow your own personal financial like intelligence. You gotta be witty. You gotta be smart. You cannot expect to go out here, have bad credit, be illegitimate in your finances. You can't go out blowing money. All of a sudden, you live in check by check. You're out here at the bar. You know, people want to borrow money. You don't have enough money to fix your car, and you think all of a sudden you're gonna build $1 million crypto portfolio. No, this all ties in together. You need to have patience. That's number one. Patience. You're not gonna turn $1,000 into $100,000 in crypto. I'm sorry. A lot of people got into that. They're like, hey man, if I would have just bought this, my friend bought Shiba Inu. He made like stop. There's always, you know, here in Vegas, you always hear about the guy that won the little jackpot. There's a guy at work. Hey man, whatever. He won 15,000. He won 12,000. You don't hear is all the stories of people that lost 15,000, 10,000, or people that dollar cost average into poverty. There's people that play $100, $1,000 a week, and you multiply that across their lifetime. They're building these casinos. They're investing in the casinos, but they don't have any equity in the casino. They just give it to them. That's not just gambling. It's also just in your lifestyle. You're buying a new pair of Jordans every other week, and you're dropping $250 on them, and you make $50,000 a year. You're bleeding yourself. You have to have financial responsibility in yourself if you want to grow your crypto portfolio. This is all tied together. It's all tied together. You need dispensable income. If you don't make enough, go make more. Educate. All right. Now, I want to talk about, you know, if you want more dispensable income, we've talked about before, you gotta go out, set your goals. And so what does setting your goals look like? So a lot of people don't know what they want to do in life. A lot of people don't know what they want to do in life. And so I would say this. First of all, challenge yourself, right? Challenge yourself. And if you don't have a goal or something written down or something, hey, this is exactly what I want to do, challenge yourself, you know? Through life, if you have complacency and laziness and everything's comfortable and you're just going through the motions, nothing exciting happens, you're gonna have a miserable life. Next thing you know, you're 45 and you're like, yo, I'm still working at the same place, trying to get my pension. That's not gonna be enough. We have to get a second job. And that the life you want to live? You want to live an ordinary life? Because there's 8 billion people on this planet. 99% of them are going to just go through the motions, fade out in existence. Anyways, so I would say challenge yourself. Can't see your goal, challenge everything until something rises to the top. Surround yourself with hungry people who also crave more, right? You hang out with the guy that is the victim, that blames everything in his life on his surroundings and everything but himself. You don't need those. Like, get those people away from me. Like, those complainers, people that are never happy, get away from me. And you know what? If you're hungry, you're building, you're doing something great, you're trying to like take yourself to the next level. I wanna be next to you. I wanna rub elbows with you. That's who I want to hang out with. And then you gotta find out who you want to be. Not who you are, not who your parents want you to be, not what society says you should be. What the fuck excites you? What would you like spending the rest of your life perfecting? Wait, who do you want to be? Who were you when you were little? Like, what did you think was cool? What do you do for a hobby that excites you? What profession like intrigues you? Go after it. Get after it. Because if you are what people expect you to be, people are expecting you to fall short. Nobody in your corner, man. Your parents, they want you to have that safe job. They don't want you to take risks. Your friends don't want to see you get out of their circle. They don't want to see you be successful. They want you to be right there next to them. They want to feel good about themselves. And so find out who you want to be. And if you don't know who you want to be yet, just challenge yourself. Because I'm sure you could put some stuff down on paper and you could figure out some things you want to improve on yourself, whether it's your health, your mental. Could be, hey, you know what? I want to lose weight. I want to work out. I want to spend more time with my kids. I want to work harder. I want to make more phone calls. Like, whatever it is. Like, those, figure it out. And then once you have those down, once you've identified what you want to work on, and work like hell to get it. Because here's the thing, those things that you want, those are things that you want to change about yourself. You say, hey, that's a should list, right? I should go to the gym. I should lose more weight. I should work out. I should spend more time with my kids. Should work harder. But you need to change the should mentality to a must mentality. When you change that like mental mindset, that frame of mind, you're like, this is not, hey, I don't want to just work out. Like I have to work out. I have to bust ass at work. I have to do this. When your should turns into a have to or a must, that's when things change. And then you just gotta work like hell, man. You work like hell. What you put down a framework and you just bust ass to get it. And then you go in and you repeat the process. Today, you repeat the process tomorrow. You keep chipping at it. You repeat the process. If you don't get the results, you repeat the process. And then the next day, if you don't get the results, you repeat the process, but you work a little bit harder. If you don't get the results the next day, then you work harder, and then you work harder, and then you work harder, and you repeat the results, and eventually it will come to fruition. Or eventually something else will pop up to your peripheral, and perhaps you'll be like, okay, you know what? I've been busting ass at this. This actually isn't exactly what I want to do, but I see an opportunity here. Good habits, rituals, and routines, man. That's it. Lay a framework and then just get after it. And you don't need to take anybody else along for the ride with you. You don't bring your kids, your family, your friends to work. And so when you decide to get to work and you want to grind, you want to accomplish things, you want to get things done, leave all that other stuff behind, just get to work. And the tough part is that you got to do this day in and day out, even though you might not see the results short term. And, you know, if the thing is, if you want to be, if you want to have a major change in your life, you want to be somebody else, you want to go into a different profession, you want to achieve some goal that's something you're not accomplishing now, then you got to change who you are. You got to change who you are. If you want to be a different person, you have to change everything about yourself. You cannot change halfway. You cannot change some bad habits. You know, I'm in from the kitchen. If you use all the same ingredients, you're going to get the same outcome, the same recipe. You can cook it for longer, for shorter. You can deep fry it. You can whatever. If you have all the ingredients for lasagna, and it's going to taste the same. Whether you bake it for longer or higher, you put aluminum foil, sure, you might perfect it in a certain way, whatever. But if you want to cook steak, you can't use the same ingredients. You want to change something about yourself. You want to be different. You want to be in a different profession. You got to change yourself. You got to look inward. You got to identify, what do I want to change? What do I need to change? What must I change? Because you got to identify what I should change, then change that should to a must, and then that has to change if you want to change. There's no way around it. No way around it. No way around it. No way around it. Straight up. If you have the same input, you do the same thing every day, don't expect a different result. Now, if you're absolutely happy and content with your life, you're going in the right direction, you're doing everything right, you don't need to change anything. Now, maybe change is what one of the routines. Maybe you're constantly challenging yourself with a new task or something different. Perhaps that is your change, but essentially, if you got to figure it out, you don't need to change anything. But if you want to change who you are, you want to change your profession, you want to change your mindset, you want to change something about yourself, you need to change at its core. At its core. Let's get some music going. What's up? Are you guys enjoying this? Are you enjoying the Sunday Rant and Ramble? We got Utero77 up in here. We also got Muhammad Mansour. We got Luna Sesnian up in here. We got Kush is my cologne. DU Wadig 279. We got Slugger Slug. Freeze up in here. Thomas Semenich. Thomas said something here. Let me get this up here. So Thomas says, I was in the auto business and it was said it was affecting his health. So he went full time into crypto, took a leap, started buying trading within a year. 125K now. Me and my wife starting a new venture. Good, man. Now here's the thing. I bet you that, Thomas, you changed a lot about yourself, right? Probably had to have a lot of discipline. I'm sure you did a lot of research. And this is probably things that you weren't doing on your everyday life, right? And you want to have success. It doesn't matter what avenue it is. You gotta have discipline, and you have to prepare, and you have to just repeat. You're gonna have failures, and you're gonna learn from those failures. Now, Omni over here says preach as well. Got a lot of thumbs up emojis. Free says, I'm glad to see that you guys are sharing. This is pretty cool, man. So Free says getting his master's at a full ride scholarship in May, money saved, invested, debt free, running 10K, physically fit. I say all of this is not to brag, but why you should brag. Now here's the thing. You know, we're all sharing our situations, right? We're all sharing our situations. That's people here in this space kind of have an open mind to it. That's what we're doing now. Why do people say don't brag, right? Why? Well, yeah, I'm not in the camp that you should brag. I'm not saying you should. But why do people say don't brag? Because they don't want to see the people around them have success. That's society. I'm telling you, society doesn't want you to succeed. Why do you think if you go to work and you're like, hey man, you know what? I made $10,000 on an investment, right? What do people like hate right away, right? Nobody wants to see you succeed. They don't. That's society. And so society has brainwashed us, don't brag. Now, I don't need to brag. A lot of bragging also comes from people that want a pat on the back. They want to feel like they're better than you. And so I would be careful with that. But in a space where you have people you trust and people that you respect their opinion, you should kind of lay out your accomplishments, right? You should say, hey, you know, I really wanted to work on myself physically, so I've been going to the gym. And hey, man, you know what? I started working out with X amount of weight. Now I'm pushing up, you know, this amount of weight now, and I'm lifting 100 pounds more. Or hey, I wanted to lose this amount of weight. And if you have some true friends that want to see you grow and prosper, they'll be excited to hear that, right? You know, if I know somebody's improving themselves or working on themselves or whatever it is, and finally that hard work pays off, I'd love to hear that. There's some people that don't like to hear that. You know, there's some people that they don't go to the gym, and then you tell them like, hey man, I've been in the gym 7 days this week. As soon as you leave, like, freaking gym rat. You know, that's the life we live in, man. Now, yeah, so I don't know. I would take bragging with a grain of salt, but I think in the right context, with the right people around, you should talk about the hard work you've done and things that have paid off, because those people that are in your circle, if they're the right people, they should appreciate that. And I appreciate you guys. You know, I appreciate all of you. Timmy says having that want will excel you much higher, and you'll be able to buy 100 rehabs or a few nice multi-million-dollar properties. Hope it all works out for you. And then Kyle M, he says he enjoys the journey. It takes time, but keep at it before you realize that you'll be there. So yeah, and a lot of this is just day in and day out work. The thing is that if you set out to a goal, most of these are marathons. They're long ass processes. There's tons of steps to get to your goal, to the finish line. And so you don't realize the reward from the daily activities. Like, you know, every step you take or every rep you take gets you that much closer. However, you look at it in the more short-term window, you say, hey man, I'm not making any progress. I'm not losing that weight. I'm not getting that promotion. But if you just have that short-term mindset, you're not thinking about it in the grand scheme of things. That's what's difficult. Difficult to go through the pain, the grind, to wake up early, the planning, and not see the results immediately. But with repetition, practice, perfection, and an outside zooming out and evaluating yourself and having an open mind to change and adapt to whatever the situation is how you get by. So all right, let's take a quick peek at the crypto markets. Let's see what's going on here. We have and then what are you guys doing today? It's Sunday. What's on the agenda for my Sunday peoples? Curious. So Bitcoin, $27,978. Playing around, flirting with a 28K mark. I think it's gonna go to. I think Bitcoin will cross 30,000 within the week. So by Sunday's stream, I think we will. Actually, I don't know, man. That Fed meeting is coming. Fed meeting is coming Wednesday, guys. Fed meeting is coming Wednesday. And I'm curious. Here's the thing. the markets are expecting the rate hike. And markets are expecting the rate hike. I don't think it's coming. I think there's too much issues financially. I think that on the grand scheme of things, there's a lot of leverage in the system. There's a lot of fragility. There's a lot of printing going on. There's a lot of banks that are on the fringe that are drawing on money from the government. And so for that reason, I think the Fed is going to pause. I think they're not going to raise interest hikes. The markets say otherwise. The markets believe that we're going to get the raise. Let me see what the markets are pricing in. CME. So it's not so you have here 62% likelihood of the rate hike, 38% of a pause. I lie in this. I think there's just too much going on. Also, the Fed had Jerome Powell went and testified in front of the Senate last week, and another representative for the Fed, I forget his exact term, he's testifying on, I think, tomorrow. And so the government's asking questions. They want accountability. And so the government is turning up the heat, right? And I think that with that, there's an expectation that they need to calm the hell down, because there's a lot of volatility in the market. And so I don't think we're going to get a rate hike. I think they're going to pause. Even though the CME has been spot on so far, I think we're going to get a pause. I think Jerome Powell is going to say, "Hey, inflation is coming down. We were at a solid 6% CPI inflation last week. That was the print. It is coming down, perhaps not fast enough, but I think that if they keep raising interest rate hikes, there's going to be more potential for collapse, more printing as far as quantitative easing and bailouts and borrowing, and that's going to have an opposite effect of what they're trying to do. So perhaps taking a pause, if they're trying to curb inflation, might be the best move. Because if they keep putting more cracks in the system, they got to keep sending out more dollars, which is how we got into this mess in the first place. Also, we got Theta Vibes up in here, Paul Lukin, Omni Humpty, and Thomas Samich, Foxfire 420, and Albatross 2. To all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. And then, so I think the likelihood is a pause. I think that's the direction we're going. And then we'll say, man, I'll kind of circle back again to what I was saying, is that I think that situation is concerning, man. This global financial system is concerning. And we are in such a good spot, right? We are in crypto. We are hedging our bet against the financial system. Remember, this is why crypto was created, right? This is why Bitcoin was made, was during the financial crisis in 2008. What happened in 2008? Came the birth of crypto, came the birth of Bitcoin. And it was Satoshi Nakamoto saw a flaw in the system, a fundamental flaw from the ground up. The whole system's jacked up. It's all ripe for political manipulation for whoever's gains. And the system's broken, and they won't let it fix itself. The system's broken, but you can let it fix itself by correcting. But at this point, you've let it go so far. You let it grow so out of control that now the impending correction essentially will be a depression, right? Instead of letting it correct itself naturally and going through a 3 or 4 year downturn, now you're talking about a great reset, because now there's even more companies that have built off of this easy money over the last 15 years. These companies all popped up and grown and have bloated valuations and unrealistic company sizes off of the backs of printing. And the market needs to correct itself, and eventually it will. But well, anyways, guys, I am gonna wrap this thing up. It was a good day, man. You guys enjoyed today's show? Put a 1 in the chat. I enjoyed today's show. I'm gonna put a 1 in here. 1. I enjoyed. If you like more of this style content, more of this inward thinking, kind of just discussing your own personal growth, put a 1 in the chat. If this ain't your vibe, this ain't for everybody, you know? A lot of people just want to come in, they want to know, hey, what coin should I buy? What token should I buy? But a lot of people just, they think money just comes easy. They think that they can just sign up for a membership somewhere and they'll just make it and money will come their way and everything will be easy. Money's not easy, man. And nothing in life is easy. Well, we got Brokioshi has gifted 5 memberships. My boy! Appreciate it, dude. And so JD Club Free, Alex K. Ooh. Also, Tyos and Davalin were gifted memberships. Thanks to Brokioshi. And then we also have a super chat as well. And so my boy over here in Talladega Fitness, dropping that cash on the baby. So thanks for that $2.99. He put a 1 in the chat with the $2.99, so that's pretty dope. And yeah, so then we also got yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. It was a really cool, man. Good show. I already played that song. Same song. What else I got? What else I got on deck? It's an good outro music. I like this song. I don't know. Anyways, this is gonna be the outro song today. Anyways, guys, thanks again for watching. Appreciate all the ones. Appreciate you hanging out with us on a Sunday. And I just leave it with this, man. It's Sunday. Evaluate what you did this week. Maybe think about what you accomplished this week. A lot of people don't take the time to reflect. Sunday's the best day to reflect. Did you get some things done this week that you're proud of, that you're happy about? And at the same time, are there a couple things that you wanted to get done that you didn't? Maybe let's prioritize those, you know? So there's a couple things. I saw somebody in the chat ask me, did I cut that tree down? I did cut the tree down. That was one of my goals a couple weeks ago. I got that done. But I also have not shaved my cat yet. So that is on my to-do list. One of these days I'm gonna shave that damn cat. And yeah, so reflect. Look at your week, man. What'd you get done? What do you want to get done? What didn't you get done? What are you proud about? Anyways, guys, thanks again. Much love. And peace.